Do. Folks, good night. Thursday evening, I want to welcome you guys to yet another Digipreneur live series. You know, the conversations that we have, are pretty good. And you know what? Just because, I'm apparently feeling a little too good, I just remembered it's actually Friday. This pandemic has us, just all over when it comes to the dates. But again, you guys know where I'm coming from. The conversation that we have on the live program have always, been geared towards helping Caribbean entrepreneurs navigate the digital space so you guys know what to do with your businesses, how to go about building, how to go about getting paid. That's such an important aspect for your online business because without getting paid, you have a hobby. So as you guys know, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Keron Rose. We have a lot of fun on these programs. Let me know in the comments, where you guys are tuning in from. Let me know that you guys are here. We got to do a little roll call just to see, where everyone is tuning in from. So if you guys are here tuning in from Jamaica, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Montserrat, Martinique, Grenada, Guyana, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. If you're here from the States, Canada, the UK, let me know in the chat where you guys are watching the program from. All right. We have an insightful conversation here tonight. And I had to bring on two guys that have been building within the e-commerce space for some time now to have this conversation with us because e-commerce is growing within the Caribbean region. I mean, today we're going to be focusing more on Trinidad and Tobago, but e-commerce has been growing throughout the region. And because of the pandemic, it has really, really taken off. And, as we are getting more and more solutions, as more people are getting hip to what is happening in the e-commerce space or just getting hip to, trying to get their business online, we got to keep on having these conversations so that people can understand, what are the solutions, what works, where to go, what to kind of stay away from, and just give you some overview as to what is happening in the space. All right. So let's see. We have Mr. Kyle here from Trinidad and Tobago. Perfect. We got Jamaica is inside the building. We got Rendell Rose watching from Trinidad. We got Rayard Singh in from Trinidad. Good night, folks. So as you guys come in, definitely let us know where you are watching in from. So I think we could get this conversation started, all right? I think we could get this conversation started tonight. So the two guests that I'm bringing on today, I'm bringing back my guy, Ocey Phillips. Ocey Phillips is an e-commerce consultant, has worked with companies throughout the Caribbean region and also in Africa to help build e-commerce solutions. So we're bringing him back on. You guys have seen him here before. And we're also bringing on Stephon Duncan, who is a CIO for SocialPay. SocialPay is a popular payment platform that people are using to get paid online with various platforms using different integrations and also pay links. All right. So without further ado, please welcome our guest for tonight, Ocey Phillips.
Good night.
Stephon Duncan. What's going on, folks? What's going on, bros?
What's good?
Nice. How is everything going? How are you doing, Stephon? Let's start with you. How are you doing so far? How's everything?
Good, getting better. Getting better is the proper response.
No, that's good. And Ocey, how things, man? Long time no talk. What's going on?
I gotta do something, but I'm here. I mean, things fine. I'm hectic. Plenty of work on the cast right now. So behind the scenes. I love the behind the scenes.
Yeah. But sometimes you gotta jump out in front of the camera and let people know what's going on.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
I love it. So, folks, the reason I brought you guys both on here tonight is because we gotta talk, the state of e-commerce in Trinidad. As both of you guys know, you guys are both in it. The space is growing and it's growing at a rapid rate. There's solutions popping up all over the place. Everybody's getting more and more requests to figuring out, how to get online. And what's now happening is we have to be able to tell people and showcase to people, where to go, how to go, left, right? Also, we're going to be talking social pay because social pay has some news. And even though the news may be a bit of a damper, I think there are definitely some lessons to be learned throughout this process so that people who are looking to build a company after or coming up looking to build a company now have some guidance on how to do that. And then also, again, consumers that are picking platforms are also going to be giving some advice on, how to go about picking the platforms that you guys are using to building your business. So without further ado, you guys are ready for tonight's conversation?
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Oh God, let me get some life. Oh God, let me get some life.
I'm already seeing the questions coming.
All right, no problem. So I mean, let's jump on the elephant in the room. So Steph, let's deal with social pay. Let's tackle that. So talk to us. What's going on with social pay? What's the status of social pay? Because we know that there was a big email sent out last night. I can imagine people calling, crying one time. Oh God, what we gonna do? So let's get on that out the gate. Talk to us about social pay. What's the word?
That was my behavior too. Oh God, what we gonna do? So basically, what happened is that social pay got too big for its own good. Meaning that when I started up social pay, it was acting as a loss leader for my other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more of a passion project, just to let people get introduced into e-commerce. But because of COVID, things kick off so fast that we outgrew the current portfolio that we have. And with more business, more people that you're managing, comes more regulations. So the issue at hand is that we're currently managing a large portfolio on a small license. We need to get a bigger license, a facilitator license, in order to continue running the process. It's something that a lot of businesses who manage payment should look into, especially if you have a large client base, or even a small client base, because things are now shifting in here where e-commerce is taking off at an extreme rate. I mean, the interest in getting online, and I believe you have a part to play in that, Keron. The interest of getting online is growing so much that now anybody could jump online in about 10 minutes and start selling.
Right.
Now, the fact of the matter is, it's really easy to do that part, and getting payments installed is also an easy process. But because it's easy to do, there needs to be some process flow in order to get that up and running. And the current businesses that operate in payments are First Atlantic, WePay, and Social Pay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So First Atlantic, well, they partner with all the banks, so they have all their license in the game. WePay, they have their license as well, and Social Pay basically third in the race, the smallest of the group, who now coming up to get their license.
Right.
The issue is that the licenses are in play, whereas it would have been a situation where you have some time to get it and whatnot. Now, any new player on the market who wants to enter into the payment facilitating space, they need to be regulated to do so. So that is why we can't continue operating as a merchant. We need to operate as a payment facilitator.
Right.
Because of that, when we get that portfolio, is when we can now jump back into handling payments. We don't want to continue doing it and then we unregulated and we put ourselves in problems, banking problems. That's the last thing we want to do. We want to operate within the confines of the rules and regulations.
Yeah, because this is a big game. Anytime that you are operating in a space where, as a payment facilitator, and I mean, let's kind of talk about what a payment facilitator is. Anybody who is collecting payments on behalf of people and then having to remit those funds, payment facilitator has to go through some serious regulations. So we know that we got to go through central bank. So there's got to be a central bank regulation to get registered. And Steph, I know you're going through the process, so you can also, you know, jump in and guide us if I'm going wrong, right? So there's a central bank regulation that has to be done. And then you also have to register on the two biggest payment networks in the world, which is MasterCard and Visa, so that you could, you know, accept those cards and remit those funds on those networks. Am I going wrong? Am I going good? Let me know. Jump in.
That's exactly it. So first and foremost, what is the most major thing is your policies. The policies, two policies, KYC and AML. KYC stands for Know Your Customer, AML stands for Anti-Money Laundering. Your business, if you're remitting payments or handling payments in any regard for other persons, these regulators need to know, hey, you're following these specific guidelines. And KYC basically means if Keron is using my platform and Keron sells a product for $300 and he consistently sells this product for $300, and all of a sudden, bam, Keron starts selling something for $5,000. I, as the policyholder, should be aware of, wait, why did Keron make such a big jump in what is he selling? How is he receiving this large amounts of money? Because this is not his regular process flow for sales.
Right.
And that ties in with the other policy, the AML, anti-money laundering, to make sure that Keron is not doing something underhand or fishy with the money that he's receiving, or well, not the money he's receiving in the sense that who's paying him is not a fishy transaction, and it doesn't hamper the process flow of what it is. So I need to reach out to Keron, find out, hey, what it is you're doing, whatnot. And while we do have those policies in play, the regulators need to make sure that we're adhering to it.
Right. And I think, you know, what's interesting is one of the things that you said in the beginning is that, you know, did you expect social pay to blow up the way that social pay has blown up?
Bro, I didn't think that I would be running such a big company in a short space of time. Social pay was really there to manage payments the way I wanted it. Don't get me wrong, WePay is great. Love WePay. However, my only issue with WePay is that people used to call me for customer service. And I know you face the same thing, Keron. It's a weird thing where customers, you know, when they talk about a business, they try to, you know, find every avenue to get the information. So my thing was like, and then around that time, you know, they were going through some changes as well. So people were consistently contacting me, hey, I want to do this at WePay, I want to integrate WePay on my website and whatnot. And they had it in their mind that, you know, as WePay staff, which, I mean, at the time, we were pushing WePay a lot. So it kind of dawned on me that, you know, hey, what, I'm managing people. People are calling me every single day and I'm managing them. And if I'm going to manage these individuals, maybe I should take up a larger portfolio, in the sense that I don't think it would have just been like 10, 20 people, not thousands. And yeah, so it's a matter where now it could also be a blessing in disguise, because now I have a little downtime to restructure, in the sense that who I'm going to now bring onto the team. Investors going to start coming into the company. Do I have to hire personnel for specific things? Do I need someone to be that in direct contact with the bank at all times? So these are questions that I need to answer. Right. However, these are things that are coming back when it is we get that payment facilitator license. Right. Not just go ahead. Sorry.
No, continue. Just fix your mic a little bit, because you're sounding a bit far away. Fix your mic
a second. You hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, right. You're good now.
So, yeah, I didn't have enough time to set up professionally like you guys now. Whole day I'm busy answering calls, comments, questions coming in, phone don't stop ringing. So, yeah, one of the things that is a payment facilitator as well is marketplaces. And the thing about it is, we're not the only person who is going to go through the situation. All these marketplaces that pop up within the last year, they are also considered payment facilitators. And eventually they would have to now submit their own KYC policies and their own AML policies. And if they are not doing that at the moment, then they need to start getting a gear to make sure that the items that their vendors are selling are categorized under these specific bodies and policies as well.
So what that translates to, folks, is that it's not just social pay. What is going to happen? So remember, e-commerce has grown because of the pandemic. We have been able to attract, interest from MasterCard, interest from Visa. The banks are pushing e-commerce. So now that we have so much attention on the e-commerce space, everybody needs to make sure that they cross their T's and dots their I's. So what is going to happen now is marketplaces every single marketplace in Trinidad is going to have to go through the process as registering as a payment facilitator, right? Because they're collecting funds on behalf of customers, and then they're remitting those funds. So every marketplace, any payment service like a social pay and some of the other ones coming out, everybody needs to go through that process of registering with the central bank, registering with MasterCard, registering with Visa in order to receive their own PayFac status. And the reason that happens is because all of these regulations are in place to protect the consumer. Now, Stephon, Ocey, you guys can jump in, but typically, right, if somebody is not registered as a payment facilitator, on the receipt, so just like how most people are accustomed to seeing a PayPal receipt. When they see that they've either received money, they've sent money, it would say PayPal and it would say the user's name as to who they paid, right? If somebody's not a payment facilitator, what is the dangers of we working with businesses that are not a registered payment facilitator? What is the danger to the consumer?
So you want to take that one or you want me to answer it?
Go ahead now, you're on the stage. Go ahead.
So so based on the information that I received is that consumers need to know who exactly they're paying and who is receiving the funds. So when they check their receipts, it's easy to say, let's say Marketplace A is just a merchant, they're not a payment facilitator. And a consumer pays towards Marketplace A. When they check their bank receipt and they see Marketplace A only, they don't see the seller, it could cause an issue where chargebacks and refunds could arise. And that's what the banks are trying to avoid. Because anybody could claim, hey, I didn't use my credit card on this platform.
Right.
And then, especially if it is you're selling digital products, your protection is way lower.
Right.
So, and it has happened a couple of times here over on the social pay camp as well, where persons would claim that they didn't purchase this item or they didn't purchase that. So the bank now has to get in contact with the merchant holder to say, hey, this person is claiming that they made a purchase on your platform. They didn't make this purchase on your platform, but they're seeing a charge.
Right.
If and you don't have the proper documents to say, hey, well, these were my products that were sold, then you end up in a situation that you're more or less a reseller of other resellers. And there is, at the moment, the only way to do that is with this payment facilitator license. The issue arises where, let's say now, you as the marketplace have to now contact your vendors in order to get some type of response from them. And it just makes the process so much longer.
Right.
And much harder for you to win those cases. Much harder for the bank to win those cases as well. Because it's too many channels you have to go through to get the process done. Whereas if it is your payment facilitator, then they could see on the receipts who exactly the money was remitted to.
Right. So when you're not registered as a payment facilitator, if the consumer has to go after a vendor for their money, and let's just say you go to the banks or you reach out to MasterCard or you reach out to Visa because there was fraud committed on the card and you're trying to figure out where the money went. If the money's passing through unregistered payment facilitators, there's no recourse for the consumers to get back their money because Visa, MasterCard, the banks, as far as they're concerned, they only see a transaction from quote unquote social pay or whoever the market is, and they would not be able to get that money back, right? So this is why this conversation about, just anybody who is a marketplace, anybody who is building a payment facilitation company. This is the time now. We're now in the big leagues. We're now in a time where, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if you felt like we could have just started and, not gone down the route of getting registered, now is not the time to do that. Now is the time to dot your I's, cross your T's. So,
correct.
Steph, give us a little bit of insight. What is
right.
If somebody's looking to register as a payment facilitator, what is the high level process of what needs to kind of happen?
All right. So one of the things I just want to state is that across the board, social pay is compliant. We take regards to all those policies and how we handle things, right? So the issue is that if you want to get into this new space of a payment facilitator, one of the things that I said you have to do is those KYC and AML policies. You want to know as much about your customer as possible. If somebody registers on your platform, you need to know, obviously for Trinidad, as we could only operate here as a facilitator, we would take information such as current location, age, date of birth, identification. We would take a business information as well, and then we would afterwards we contact the person who is signing up with the platform, make sure they are who they say they are, and then afterwards we start to gauge how it is they're running transactions, what it is they're selling, together make sure whoever it is on your platform is selling legit products. You don't want to put yourself at a risk with selling digital products as a third party, meaning if you have a marketplace, so if you're starting up a payment facilitating service and one of your customers pushing a lot of digital products, is something that is harder to win chargeback cases on, especially if it is you have these vendors on the platforms doing that. So you need to be as compliant as possible. It's a long procedure where we probably had to either put a document or something on it, Keron. However, it's something that evolves time and time when it is you're in this space.
Right. All right. So we have an idea as to, if you are if you're looking to build a payment facilitator business. But now let's talk about the marketplaces, because we have a ton of marketplaces, right? Ocey, Ocey's been talking about the amount of marketplaces that have popped up. Last time you checked, Ocey, what was the number at in terms of marketplaces that we're now operating in Trinidad and Tobago?
That would have been 2 weeks ago. I would have checked and it was at 35.
35, right? So to put this into perspective, folks, right? We currently have 35 marketplaces in Trinidad that are not currently registered as payment facilitators. Now, the question that people are going to ask is, well, how do we know if we're going to register with a marketplace? Now, we could take our business online. We could sell, whether it's digital products, but physical products as well, right? Doesn't matter. Whatever you're selling, if you're going to be jumping on a marketplace, the question people are going to ask is, well, how do we know who is a payment facilitator, who is regulated, and who is not? So let's just kind of give people some helpful hints, because again, this doesn't start and finish with social pay. This is across the board. And the purpose of this conversation is we have Stephon, who is going through that entire process, both on both sides of it. He's trying to build a business. And what I like about Steph is Steph built a business that he's seen a gap, and it was more about trying to solve a problem to a small group of people within a community. It blew up, and because it's blown up, now that you're playing in the big leagues, right? There is no, nobody's watching. No, everybody's watching. So now everybody needs to make sure that as you grow, you want to make sure you have everything in order, right? So the purpose of this conversation was really that now that we know we have somebody who's going through that process, this is going to be happening to everybody else who's registered with other payment facilitators that are not registered payment facilitators, and also marketplaces who are not registered as payment facilitators. So we want to give you guys options. We want to let you guys know how you could figure out if the marketplace you are working with is a registered payment facilitator, so you don't wake up one morning and find out that, hey, the place that you've been earning your bread and butter on for the last how many months is being suspended until they get their status and get their documents in order.
And just to add to that, Keron, suspension only comes if it is you're already compliant. If you're already doing what it is you're supposed to be doing from before. You have all the documents in order, you have all your policies in check. If you don't have those things at the moment, I would advise you to go get those things on your website, look up what is KIC and AML, and add those things to your platform and implement it into your marketplace business. Because if you don't have it, you're looking at a temporary suspension, you're looking at a shutdown.
Right. And again, folks, you want to make sure that the marketplaces or any payment facilitators that you guys are using are registered with the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, and that they're also registered with MasterCard and also registered with Visa. So let me just give you guys, I'm going to show one way to check to see if the marketplace that you're operating with or the payment facilitator is registered. I'll show you guys with MasterCard, and Visa has their own list. And I'll see if I can pull that up as well. But I have MasterCard on the ready. So let me just go over to screen share. So one way to check. So again, we're trying to give you guys the information to make the best possible decision on how you guys take your business online. All right. So one of the ways to check, if you guys are trying to join a marketplace and you guys want to know, is that marketplace registered as a payment facilitator? Again, the three places you need to check is you could check with Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, you could check with Visa, and you could also check with MasterCard. What I have is MasterCard has a section on their website called Find a Payment Facilitator. So to give you a little bit of breakdown as to what a payment facilitator is and how the rules and everything works, and they have all of the payment facilitators that are registered across the world on their website. So automatically, if you are joining a marketplace here in Trinidad and Tobago, as a matter of fact, anywhere, if you are joining a marketplace and you want to make sure that that marketplace is registered, and remember, you want to make sure that they are registered, because if you as a merchant on their platform, if you run into any problems and you need to get money back to you, and you're working with somebody who's not registered, you are not going to be able to get back your money. There may not be any recourse for you. So when you come onto MasterCard's website and you come into the Find a Payment Facilitator, you guys want to go over to Latin America, and these are all of the registered payment facilitation companies that have their PayFac status on MasterCard's network. Everything is listed here through all of the countries throughout Latin America. So if we were to scroll up, this is by no means a plug to the biggest fintech company in the Caribbean right now, but just as an example, if you go all the way to the bottom, you guys will see that the company registered for Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica is WePay for both Trinidad and also Jamaica. So they are the lone payment facilitator company in the Caribbean that is registered as a payment facilitator, meaning they can accept money on your behalf and remit money back to you as a merchant. All right. So Visa has a list, and also Central Bank has a list. So again, anybody that is looking to check to see if the marketplace, or if you're going to be using a payment service, if you guys want to see in future, how do I know if anybody is regulated? Just to make sure that you guys are building on a platform where, again, there's going to be recourse for you if anything happens. That would be a way to kind of go and check out. But now that we've kind of, talked about some of the negative things, because, now people got the message from Social Pay. Social Pay is going to be down for a little bit, right? We hope speedy recovery for Social Pay. Ocey, you're going to be jumping in here now, right? You've been quiet this whole entire time. Now is your time to jump in, right? So anytime we turn these cameras on, I'm not about, just leaving people with all the negative, right? we all know that we have a history of people with PhDs in problem identification. So let's talk about the solutions for people that are looking to, one, if they need to get paid online, you know, what's available for them based on the platforms that they are using. And then we could talk about different services like digital invoices, pay links, plugin integrations and whatnot. And then I think we may be able to touch on marketplaces given the information that we have, right? So we'll see how that goes. So first things first. So Ocey, you know, talk to me. What are the most popular platforms right now that if people are looking to build a website, what are some of the popular platforms that people use?
So I think for Trinidad, WooCommerce or WordPress has, I think, 50% market share here. But there's a lot of other things, Squarespace, Shopify, Magento, and a bunch of other platforms. Even Wix up there with a lot. OpenCart and a bunch of others. But the truth is that I tell anybody, once you check out four core things before you get into business, then you shouldn't have these problems, which is, and one of those things that make sure that whatever solution you distribute into the problem that you're solving, you can get paid for it, right? So we need to not look at fancy things, because people keep asking me week in, week out, hey, I heard you did something, but then I choose Equid, or I heard you did something and I choose Shopify, or I choose this. You need to get out of that frame of mind of that kind of hustle and start to look at business is something that's very serious. Are you going to invest in something that you have the security and the longevity of collecting payments with ease, or do you want to just scramble and fight up with the global players that could flick a switch and have you feeling pain for a while because your money's locked up somewhere else,
Right.
right? So people need to look at, first and foremost, what's the best platform for you to get paid on easily? And 9 out of 10 times as WordPress. I
Right.
mean, because of their market share, almost all the processors across the world, even third-party processors or ad hoc processors, build platforms or build a plugin for WordPress or WooCommerce.
Right.
So 9 out of 10 times, I think your money is safe there.
Right. Steph, you've been building integrations as well for multiple platforms. That was one of the biggest appeal with Social Pay. So talk to us. You know, we've struggled to get payments on some of these platforms. So just give us a breakdown. When it comes to platforms that people want to build their websites on and get paid, you know, what is the easiest one that you've been able to work with, and which are the ones that are most difficult to get your money on, and then which are the ones we just can't get our money on? I think we lost Stephon. Hold on,
Yeah,
Stephon will come back in. Stephon will come back in.
I think we lost that for a while.
We lost Steph for a while. No worries. Anyways, we'll as Steph comes back, we'll get him back on the broadcast, right? Probably just had a little technical difficulty. So yeah, so Ocey, so okay, we're just talking about, you know, which platforms, right? So with WordPress, so one of the big things that people need to understand with WordPress is an open source platform, and that's what makes it easier for any gateway. And Steph has come back. Hold on. Let's just bring Steph back in one time. Steph, you're on mute. All right. Steph, you're on mute.
What's the question, Keron?
All right. Perfect. All right. So we were just talking to Ocey about, you know, some of the popular platforms, because Ocey's done some research on breaking down, you know, what are the most used platforms in Trinidad for building websites, right? So my question to you is,
Right.
You've been building plugins and solutions and workarounds for a variety of different solutions, right? A variety of different platforms. So in your experience, which is the easiest platform? Because people are going to want to know, well, if I need to build a website, which platform to use? Which is the easiest platform for them to get paid on? Which is the platforms that are a bit more tricky? And which platforms, you know, can we just not get our money on right now, given the solutions available to us?
So the easiest platform, that's a multi-layered question. So the easiest platform to get paid on is WordPress. Well, with the WooCommerce integration. And the reason for that is WooCommerce comes with so many add-ons, whether it's bookings, events, scheduling, whatever it is you have to do. You could stick that into WooCommerce and now be able to process payments on a mirage of different products. And why that is so beneficial compared to Shopify and especially Wix. One of the issues that we have with Wix when it's time to integrate is many people will want to use Wix bookings or Wix events or whatever Wix has, but my integration only works with Wix stores and my bridge basically. So clients would come and say, hey, well, I'm doing bookings on Wix. Could you help me? And I'm like, no, I can't. I could only help you if you're selling products because Wix booking have a totally different checkout process than the Wix stores and the Wix events. It's not the same process flow.
Right.
While it looks the same on the front end, when you look at the code, it's like, oh, this it doesn't work the same way. Right. Shopify, I would say, gets second place. The reason for that is the checkout process for Shopify is the same across the board. But when it comes to integrating Shopify, it's one of the longest phone calls that I have. So the three ways I do it is, you want WordPress, here, look the plugin, just put in your credentials.
Right.
You want Shopify, you might have to spend 10 minutes on the phone with me. You want Wix, you're looking at 2 to 3 days. So now, when it comes to website management, being straight, I would, if it is just one website management, no payments, go Wix. If you want website management with payments, Shopify. And if it is you want a platform where you can do everything in one, then you go to WooCommerce, WordPress WooCommerce.
Right.
However, with WordPress and WooCommerce, the learning curve is a bit greater than the other platforms. Whereas with because of the payment space that I'm in now, I've been spending more time on these other platforms that I would never recommend at all. And using Shopify and Wix more, I'm realizing why people would go to those platforms. I would still advise people to stay away from Wix. The reason is Wix is not mobile responsive. If you go and build a Wix website and you visit it on your phone, it's not going to adjust to that phone screen size by default. You have to go and do a set of extra steps. Whereas WordPress and Shopify out of the box, you could have those responsive templates because you could purchase templates on Team Forest.
Right.
So in short, go WordPress and all your headache with payments, with design and everything will be the least. However, if it is you need to be a little more in charge of your content and don't have to worry about security or some of these other things, then go Shopify.
Right. So is there a platform that we can't get paid on? Which are the popular, and I'm posing this to both of you, which are the popular platforms that we can't get paid on?
I don't think there's any one, because there's always something that you could get paid on, whether it's WePay, Social Pay, or First Atlantic. There's always a bridge somewhere that you could find. Go right back to Magento. Probably would have to be one of those far-fetched platforms like Duda or something that you may not have a direct bridge. That is not mainstream. Yeah.
So my answer will be a little more simple. What Ocey saying is correct. One word, Squarespace. I have had so many issues with Squarespace. I'm gonna adjust my camera a little bit. Sorry guys. Yeah. So the thing about Squarespace is that they only work with PayPal and Stripe.
Right.
And as we know, PayPal is a hit or miss in Trinidad and Tobago right now. Some people have it working fine. Luckily, I am one of those people who have it working fine, but I've had so many complaints about PayPal that I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. Try to get a local payment processor, and if that's the route you had to go, then Squarespace is not an option. I've tried for months on integrating Squarespace, and the most I've gotten to is putting a button on the product page that takes you over to social page to pay. And it's like it's not the best solution. Um, what I would say the best platform to use, well, if it is you're looking for payments other than WordPress, look for any platform that allows you to integrate. If they have an API solution or a documentation on how to integrate a custom payment gateway,
Right.
then you could use that platform because, I mean, it would be costly. You had to find a developer to build the integration, but
Right.
it's possible.
Right.
It's possible to get it done.
Right. Right.
So I think
But
one of the things that we have to address here is if we're looking at the average solopreneur, the man on the ground, the man that's
Correct.
looking to start, he may not have that resource. Neither
right.
he or she may not even be able to know where are the next two steps to go to find that resource.
Correct. And Steph, and I mean, you deal with that even more than me, right? Ocey, I know you get a lot of corporate, but I know nowadays you're getting a lot more man on the ground, reaching out to say what's the starting point. And 10 out of 10 times, they don't know where to begin. So the minute we start about, trying to find a developer to build a custom, it's already a loss. And then the cost associated with some of these things is high. The reason why...
You see with that... Oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Go ahead.
The issue with it is that so many people already using alternative platforms, and like they put payments last. I have had, so if you see my email list, people ask me about BigCommerce, UCart, XCart, or a bunch of different things that I never hear before, and they already built for their whole website on this platform.
Yeah.
And it's like they already pay, some of them pay developers to do it.
Steph, we're losing you. Steph, we're losing you. All right, we lost you there. Some of them are paying developers. Some of them have paid developers.
Yeah, some of them pay developers. Yeah, they pay developers to build this website. Much people can call them and tell me, I already paid 2,000 US for this. I already paid this amount of money. How it is I can't receive payments? And I'm like, ma'am, you just can't do it with what's available to you. Look, try to open a bank account in America, see if you get Stripe. And that process is a bigger hit or miss than PayPal.
Yeah, Ocey, what are some of the downsides, because you deal with business development as well, what are some of the downsides of telling Caribbean people that are based here in the Caribbean, what are some of the downsides that come with telling people to go register a US business just to go set up a PayPal or a Stripe account? What are some of the downsides that come with that?
Uncle Sam wants piece of every single thing that you earn, whether you live there or not. It doesn't matter. And the taxation is high. I haven't heard about the amnesty like we have here in Trinidad and Tobago about taxes and different things that we have to pay as business people. Across there, you would have to pay it religiously. Now, a lot of people do understand. A lot of people still, one of the biggest problems in that hustle mode that are now going online, and the shock factor of understanding that business is a serious thing, that you have to have certain things. Your accounting, your books has to be up to date. You have to look at break-even point, return on investment for digital assets and stuff like that. That is beating a lot of people. Quite a few people are getting mixed with that. So the ego part of it tells a lot of people, yeah, I want to do Shopify, I want to do BigCommerce, I want to do BigCart, XCart, this, what. But then the truth of the matter is, like, when you come back to the fundamental, no matter what problem you're solving, you have to find a way to distribute that solution, but you also have to find a way to get paid. And once you start at that foundation, anything else, you have to operate within those confines. Because a lot of people say, yeah, I want to sell to anywhere in the world. But people try to solve first world problems, but we're still in a third world context. Means that the size of our market, multiple currencies, those big players probably don't see it viable to inject a proper solution for multiple currencies here, because the return on investment for them may not make sense, right? So we need to fit in those confines. And if those confines means that, here's what, we only are allowed to get paid properly and smoothly on WooCommerce or one or two others, then that is what we have to operate on. We just have to find a way to differentiate our WooCommerce from everybody else, right? So it's right about the time that we kind of change mentally on how we see digital as not just a hustle, but it is something at the end they invest time and money and effort, and you have to do your research. All of this comes in research, market research. Doesn't mean how much people are there to buy your product, but it means, how do I get paid? How do I find customers? How do customers pay me?
Yeah.
And these are the questions that has to be asked now more than ever.
And that's a question. You see the how am I getting paid? That's a question that when you're dealing with the average person, that's not even a question they're asking themselves, because as much as we'll tell people, hey, do the research, right? As much as we're telling people do the research, what happens is that the research and the information they're getting is all US based information, right? It's all US based information. So the research that people are getting, the research that they're Googling is US information. And then they go down that road. They go and they pick up platforms like BigCart. They go pick up a Squarespace, you name it. They pick up all these different platforms. And then they're unable to get paid. And when they realize, the most unfortunate thing about it is, when they realize they can't get paid, it's 5-6 months later. It's thousands of US dollars later. I've had somebody come back and be like, hey, I've been working on my website for 6 months and I've been building on Squarespace. And when somebody tried to order, I realized that they can't pay me. I'm like, what do you mean you've been working on your website for 6 months and then you realize you can't get paid? That is mind-blowing, right? In the Caribbean, first question we need to be asking our big platforms is, can we get paid on this platform? Whenever you hear any of us talk about WordPress or Shopify or Wix, it's not even about, or WeShops or Figaro or any of these platforms. We're never really talking about it out of a personal preference. It's never about personal preference. It's about, we are looking at the black and white. This is how you get paid on this platform. These are the fees associated with working on this platform. These are the fees associated with working on this platform. And we go down the line. So when we make recommendations, it's never out of a personal opinion. It's black and white. This is what it is. And we've done our homework enough to say, hey, if you want to get paid, if you want to go online, if you want to sell products, these are the 3 platforms you can go on without any problems. And you pick whatever your business processes is, whatever your business is, whatever solution is going to work best for you, whatever the fees are that you can afford, we'll go through it. So, also, I know Stephon's having a little bit of trouble right now, but let's talk a bit about some of these platforms that we can get paid on without any problem. All right, Steph, I know we have diving in now. You're having some issues, but no problem. What we're talking about now is,
I ain't too sure what's going on tonight.
What we're talking about now is, we just want to go through some of the platforms that we don't have no issues getting paid on. Right? So when we talk WordPress, what are the payment solutions available for somebody if they're going WordPress? What are the payment solutions available on WordPress?
Yeah. Locally at the moment, yes, the best solution to off the ground is WePay. And if it is you want a little more management, you have First Atlantic Commerce.
Right.
Now, by default, if you're starting up and you don't have much capital, whatnot, go WePay.
Right.
Right.
And
if it is your bigger company and you need a little more management and things need to happen without you creating tickets, then go to First Atlantic Commerce.
And just guide us a little bit about the process of registering with First Atlantic Commerce.
So with First Atlantic Commerce, one of the things you have to do is obviously once you get the application form, you need to do something called PCI compliance. And PCI compliance is basically stating that your platform is secure to handle payments. And the other thing is how it is you want to set up First Atlantic Commerce into your platform. And that would be by, if it is authorizing payments, if you're capturing payments. And authorize is like, let's say you put a hold on a customer's card of $500 and it is your, hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, good, yeah. So authorization is basically you can put a hold on a customer card for a future payment, so that most people who run newsletters and stuff would be, that would be great for them. But the difference is with WePay, once you submit your documents, they review your application, they get approved with the bank, you have to go through about three or four different conversations. And it's a 3-week to 6-week process, depending on what it is you're selling. If it is your business is a high-risk business, then you need to negotiate what your fees would be. The set rate is 3% per transaction. However, that could be higher depending on what you're selling. And other than that, 2 weeks from now, social pay is an option again. So, but I would opt for some of the easier integrations, which is WePay, because you can just download the plugin, stick into your website. Social pay had the same thing. With First Atlantic Commerce, you either have to buy their plugin. I believe WebGoal offers the plugin, and another company called Pivos, or you can get your own developer to build the plugin for you. I see Figaro as well. They have where you could use WooCommerce as an external product. So one of the features inside WooCommerce is if you're listing a product, you can set it as external, then you could create that product over in the Figaro platform, and on the checkout page, it would redirect to Figaro to do the checkout.
So with Figaro though, now okay, let's just to finish off with WordPress. When you go and you register your merchant ID account, merchant ID account is $100 US a month. Then you got to go set up your First Atlantic Commerce account. With WebGold, if you want to integrate WebGold into WordPress, WebGold is $250 US a month if you're integrating WordPress. If you're integrating FAC into WordPress, right?
I think it's for the year, Keron. $250 a year.
For the year, $250 US for the year, right?
Yeah.
So your $100 USD is per month. Then you have your transaction fees, your 3% or whatever the negotiated rate is per transaction, plus the 25 cents US per transaction as well. And
some banks are 50 cents.
And some banks are 50 cents, right? Okay. And then you have the WebGold fee for that integration if you're using First Atlantic Commerce with WordPress. WePay, there's no registration fee. There's no fees to start up. So somebody that's now getting into it can just register with WePay, download the plugin, and jump into WordPress. Now, moving over to Shopify, because Shopify is another platform that we can get paid from. But here's the thing. Remember, folks, because I see some people in the chat bringing up, hey, but we could use social pay. Folks, the reason for this conversation is right now, we can't use social pay. So right now we're trying to give you alternatives to pay attention of, because there are going to be some of you that need to get back on the ball as soon as possible, right? So if you're on I almost said social pay. If you're on Shopify, right? Let's talk about, what are the options? What are the local options available? If you're on Shopify, what are the local options available for payment processing on Shopify?
Next platform.
Well, all right.
So there is an answer for it. Now, one of the ways that I built the Shopify integration was directly through some of the APIs that First Atlantic offers. So if somebody once they use Shopify and they have a First Atlantic account, they have two options. I believe WebGold has a plugin for Shopify as well.
Oh, they
when
do.
It comes to First,
Oh, they
yeah,
do.
for First Atlantic Commerce. I played with it a bit. And the other option is if you do have an FAC account and you can't afford to purchase the WebGold plugin, which you should because it's a full integration, you can probably reach out to me and we can work out something because I know exactly how to do the integration directly.
Right. And so if you guys are on Shopify, right? Remember, Shopify has their e-commerce service fees per month, right? Then if you're going to be using First Atlantic Commerce, because that's the gateway for the WebGold integration to work. So that means you have to go to the bank again, open up a merchant account, right? Your $100 a month. Then open up your First Atlantic Commerce account. And then when you go to WebGold to purchase the bridge for FAC to work with Shopify, the Shopify integration is $300 per year to integrate into Shopify. All right. So we're breaking these things down so you guys know, right? If you're somebody that was using Shopify and using Social Pay and you can't use Social Pay right now, we're letting you know what the alternatives are, right? So $300 per year. Next platform, Wix. If we're using Wix, if you're somebody on Wix, right? If we can't use Social Pay, what are our options on Wix?
So I know FAC, I can't remember the name of it. Tunnel Pay is the name of the company. They have a Wix integration where
is it
you have to
Tunnel Pay or
pay
Tillo Pay?
US a month.
Tillo Pay. It's Tillo Pay.
Tillo Pay.
Yeah, TILO. Yeah, they have a Wix integration for First Atlantic.
I see Steph freeze up again. Steph need to service provider, yes?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Tillo Pay has WooCommerce, Magento, PrestaShop, OpenCart, and I think one other.
So run that back again. Run that back again.
Tillo Pay has Wix, WooCommerce, Magento, a platform called PrestaShop, OpenCart, and one other, I think Nidox, I think is an N with there. So that's what Tillo Pay has as a
right. So if
facilitator.
If we're gonna use Tillo Pay, Ocey, give us a quick breakdown as to what do we gotta do to use Tillo Pay if we need to use any of those platforms. And I know right now there's gonna be a lot of people trying that are trying to figure out, how to get paid on Wix. So if we're gonna use Tillo Pay for the integration with Wix, what's the process with Tillo Pay?
You contact Tillo Pay. I think Tillo Pay is $275 a month for not a month, per year, sorry. I think Tillo Pay is annual. The only thing for Tillo Pay monthly is Wix, and that's $30 a month, and I think 0.5% of your transaction fees. But WooCommerce, Magento, PrestaShop, probably OpenCart, they are $275 a month, a year. Sorry. $275 a year.
Yeah.
So once you
sorry, my bad.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
Jump in.
Yeah, well, I think I'm gonna drop two plugins then. I'll drop a couple of FAC plugins for Shopify and Wix, and see how best I can get them priced, because my thing is to get people back to accepting payments as soon as possible.
You see, and one thing I want people to understand, and Stephon, you of all people know, Stephon, there are a lot of people behind the scenes rooting for you to get everything back online. You know that? Right. And one of the reasons why Stephon is doing this is because we understand that some of the solutions, they're solutions. But some of these solutions come with they come with some investments. But all of these things are what you, the consumer, the business owner, need to factor in before you begin. And the biggest problem that people have, you start on Shopify. Shopify. Let's take a look. Let me pull up Shopify's fees, right? Because we don't even really talk about what the costing is to even use these services per month. So let's take a look at Shopify. So if we're using Shopify, basic Shopify for e-commerce starts at $30 US per month. So that $30 US per month is outside of what we have to pay the bank for the merchant account, is outside of the per transaction fee, and is still outside of the web goals fee for Shopify.
Correct.
Right? So when you guys are, let me just pull this up so everybody can see it, right? Here we go. Shopify First Atlantic. Here we go. 280 US per year for the Shopify First Atlantic, right? So folks, when you guys are picking these platforms, I need you guys to do your homework on what it's going to cost you to operate your business, because all of those things need to be factored in. So you're using Shopify, don't just go and click on Shopify and say it's 30 US and you're good to go, because then you still have to go and use the merchant account with the bank. You still have to go to First Atlantic Commerce. You still got to go and get the bridge. So all of those things add up. And even when you're using a TillowPay, right? Because TillowPay uses, you correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but TillowPay is we could use it for Shopify as well, right?
No, I haven't seen anything with TillowPay for Shopify.
Oh, well, here we go. So TillowPay allows us to use Wix, WooCommerce, Magento, VTEX, OpenCart, PrestaShop, and NetApp. And I mean, these are some platforms that you guys, we all get questions about on a regular basis, right? However, if you are using TillowPay for Wix, this is $30 a month. So Ocey, I want you to kind of walk us through, because I mean, again, this is something that when you are helping people build out their business structure, this is the kind of frame of mind you kind of walk people through, right? So I have Wix up here. Let me just pull up the Wix pricing. Let me just pull up the Wix pricing. So Ocey, when you're talking to people and they're coming to you and they're asking about the solutions, what's the kind of train of thought you are walking people through when picking a platform?
I mean, so it's broken down between a lot of things. So me, I ask people 4 questions. What is the problem that you're solving? Is there money in the problem that you're solving? Could you distribute the problem to it? And could you get paid? And 9 out of 10 times after doing a little market research, you kind of realize, well, is your target market in a country? Because a lot of people like to jump on and say, well, I want to sell to the US, when their target market is in the Eastern Caribbean or something like that. So it really is depending on, do we have to use Veeam or BlueSnap or one of those other platforms, or do we need to use a framework that they could just settle and then we market in specific countries to drive traffic, right? It's always a tug and pull with people, because people think that I want to go with Shopify because somebody told them that Shopify or Squarespace is good. And it's never a justification of how do they get paid. So
Right.
it's always tough for me to kind of talk to people about this. But most of the people that reach out to me is either they already went with a solution and it's too late to turn back now, and they don't have the money to pay for something new.
Right.
So they just give up on it and find something else.
Right.
Very rarely people come at a good time seeking correct advice.
Right. And I mean, I'm pulling this up just so people get an idea, right? So if you want to go and use Wix, to start using Wix e-commerce, we're looking at a start $17, right? Then we jump over to TillowPay. Now, Ocey, I don't know if you use TillowPay as yet, but with TillowPay Wix, we're still opening a merchant account with the bank because it's FAC, correct?
Yeah, based on my understanding, everything. So TillowPay in this part of the region has built everything on top of First Atlantic. And based on my understanding, it follows their principles and their policies. So
And their
9 out of 10
fees.
times the fees would be there, but also your requirement for a merchant account should be there.
Yeah, well, that was definitely that's mandatory. So if you're on Wix, if you're on Wix, you're starting at minimum 17 US a month, and then if you want to go and use TillowPay, because TillowPay is the first full integration of a of a Caribbean payment processor into Wix, right? So you're starting at 17, you're tacking on 30 US a month to use Wix, to use TillowPay, but then you have to go to your bank and you're paying the fees for your merchant account to have a merchant account. And I believe most banks are at 100 US a month for the merchant account to keep that active. So again, when you are picking your platforms, these are the types of things that you have to be looking at when justifying which platform that you are using. All right. Another good option, like let's jump into Fagaro. We'll jump into Fagaro and we'll wrap up with WeShops, and then we'll bring this to a wrap, right? So let's look at, if we were to jump over to Fagaro. Now, the good thing with Fagaro is that each of the banks in Trinidad have white labeled the Fagaro solution. Can you guys, Steph or Ocey, can you guys refresh my memory as to which banks have white labeled Fagaro?
I think FCB, off the top of my head.
FCB is what? ePay?
Yeah, I think it's ePay.
Yeah, Republic Bank as well has Figaro.
Correct. What is the name for Republic Bank? What did they white labeled it as?
I can't remember, but I know they have it.
Okay, so Republic Bank is ePay, right? So if you guys wanted to use Republic Bank ePay, it is Fagaro, just white labeled, right? And you guys can jump on Fagaro's website and you can check out what Fagaro has to offer. They have Fagaro shops that allow you to build your website. They have the payment buttons, which is essentially a payment link. So you guys can create the name of a product, generate a payment link, and send those things out to people so people can click on it and quickly pay. And then they also have invoicing. So if you want to send a digital invoice because you're a service provider, you're sending out a custom order, you guys could use Fagaro. You guys can either go directly to Fagaro, and Fagaro integrates with First Atlantic Commerce. So that means you're going to need a merchant account from your bank, or they integrate with PayPal. If you're somebody that has PayPal, Fagaro can do that. If you go through Republic Bank and if you go through FCB, they've actually simplified the process a bit. All right? So you guys can jump on to Republic ePay, check out how to apply, get the product information, because the fees are a little bit different if you are going directly through the bank to utilize the Fagaro service. So I would recommend probably don't go directly through Fagaro. Go to either Republic or go to FCB and utilize their solution if you want to be able to use the services that Fagaro has to offer. All right. And then last but not least, let's jump into WeShops. Again, just so you guys are made aware, some of you guys are selling products. Some of you guys are looking to build a website and also get paid on the platform. But clearly, all right, here we go. WeShops. Right. So you guys can Google WeShops, and WeShops will give you the ability to create a website. You guys will also be able to upload your products to the website, and then WePay would be your payment processor processing your payments. You guys can jump into WePay's website and check out WePay. And again, the point of the conversation tonight is to show you guys what solutions you guys have that are regulated, that you're going to be able to jump on and not worry about whether or not the marketplace you guys are using is not registered as a payment facilitator and needs to suspend in order to get their ducks in a row to be able to offer you the service. But trust and believe, the banks, everybody is ensuring that all of the payment services that are in Trinidad and Tobago and all of the marketplaces, everybody needs to be registered as a payment facilitator. And just so you guys have an idea, if you guys have come in late, one way to check who is a payment facilitator, you guys can go to MasterCard's website. You can go check out their page. They have a page dedicated to finding all of the payment facilitators in the globe. Visa has the exact same thing. You can also go to Central Bank and you can ask, hey, I'm looking to use this marketplace, or I'm looking to use this gateway. Are they regulated with you guys in Central Bank? So you can check on MasterCard, you can check on Visa, you can also check in Central Bank. And if they are listed on these platforms, they are registered and regulated to be able to take money from you as a business and also remit those funds back to you, right? If you go into Latin America, this is where all the Caribbean processors are going to be. Right now, the one payment facilitator, the one PayFac that we have that's registered with MasterCard, Visa, Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. If you guys come all the way to the bottom, you guys will see for Trinidad and Jamaica, we have WePay, right? So whatever you guys are using, if you guys are using any marketplace, and I'm not calling any names, whatever marketplace you guys are using, you need to ensure that they are registered with MasterCard, Visa, and also the Central Bank. Because what will happen is you guys will build a business, and you could potentially wake up and hear that the service that you are using has to be suspended. And the last thing you want at this day and age is you have built this business, it's thriving, your workflow, your process flows, everything is built. And now you have to put a stop to it. And the company that you're working with, they may not even come back because they might have never had anything in place to even start the process for regulation. So again, Steph has been gracious enough, and Steph is a really good example of an entrepreneur going through the process. He's seen both sides of it, right? And we wish SocialPay a speedy recovery because we know that you're providing a service that is much needed. And again, I anytime we mention, some of these solutions and you come up and people check you out, people go and sign up for SocialPay, right? And you've been providing a good service.
And I would say that some of these marketplaces, when this regulation comes and starts hitting them, they aren't going to come back. Because right now, I'm thinking about my clients solely. Right. As you know, Keron, I got started into e-commerce back in 2017. I lost my job and I started taking up online as a way to make money.
Right.
I was in $100,000 in debt, and because of online sales, in less than 2 years, I was able to pay off all my debts. And right. starting up SocialPay and seeing so many people signing up and earning money, it's showing me that so many people are now relying on online services, and that's why I sticking with it to keep to the fight to get the service back on. But I know for a fact when these regulators come for some of these marketplaces out here, and they had to now pay these fees, these extra amount of fees for these licenses and whatnot, they're gonna say nah and wrap up and that's it.
And it's not just the fees, because some of them have the money, but it's the process. So if you are somebody that is on the platform and you're using the marketplaces, right? And the marketplace is anybody that is, listing their business on these platforms, and you have customers, you're selling products, and these people are collecting money on your behalf and then paying out to you. They need to be registered with MasterCard, Central Bank of Trinidad, and also Visa. Otherwise, again, all of the regulators are going to be shutting all of these businesses down. So this is a bit of a warning to all of you to get your business in order, because they're here. It's going to happen. Not if, not when, not how. They're going to receive a formal letter telling them cease and desist to get everything in order. And just before we wrap up, I just want to show you one last thing, right? Because WePay is one of the is the only registered payment facilitator in the Caribbean right now. If you look on their website, this is a seal of approval that you will see. So all marketplaces should have a seal of approval that says this: registered payment service provider by the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. If the payment gateway you are using, if the marketplace you are selling your goods on online, if they do not have this, folks, do yourself a favor and get your business in order. Because if that is all you're using to sell your services and they get the letters telling them to cease and desist, then you would be caught unaware and not knowing what to do. So again, we had this conversation to show you guys alternatives, different platforms you guys could use. And again, the space is growing. There's going to be new services popping up on a regular basis. We're just showing you how to make sure as a consumer or as a business owner, you protect yourself and you're not going to use something that is going to get shut down in the very near future, right? So folks, just want to quickly wrap up because we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes now. So Steph, any closing remarks, anything you want to let the people know as we wrap up?
Social Pay will be back. And when we do come back, we come with some much better services that we already have. I want to also say thanks, though. Thanks for the outpouring support that I've received in such a short space of time. When Social Pay started, it was just supposed to act as a loss leader for my other businesses.
Right.
And it came to the point that I deal with each client when they call, hey, I have this platform, hey, I want to work with this. And I take the joy as a developer, integrating these platforms for persons, getting them onboarded and taking payments. And that's the core of what makes me happy, to see other people getting online and getting paid. It's all about assisting others. And yeah, even that's how me and you started, Keron, where, for those who don't know, Keron had Droid Island TT, and I visited the website and it didn't have a security certificate, and I was like, hey, what's going on with this website? And he had contacted his support team, who was hosted, and they couldn't even solve it, and we sat down and we worked on it together, and ever since then, Keron has pushed me to also start these businesses that I run, because he showed me the value in getting started in assisting people, and I was always like, well, boy, I had make the money and whatnot, and he's like, look, you put your content out there for free, and you're going to see how much money you would make just by putting it out there for free. So that's why we never charge for any plugins, we never charge no monthly membership, none of those things. We just came out for free. Only thing they pay is transaction fees, and it has been a blessing to see how much interest it generated, how much people were thankful by saying, hey, I didn't even know something like this exists. And that alone does make me happy. When I first sent out the email and get the shutdown or whatnot, the calls that I was receiving were folks saying, hey, you will get through this. We're real thankful for the service. We can't wait for it to come back. People who I never spoke to before, they're on my platform, they're using the services, and now I have in direct contact with them saying how much they love the service. It just makes it all better for me to get this thing done as soon as possible and get this new this new portfolio that we're currently acquiring.
I love it. Steph, thanks. Thank you. And again, we wish you a speedy recovery to get everything back up. Ocey, any closing remarks for the up and coming entrepreneurs, trying to jump into this e-commerce space right now? Talk to us.
Just want to let people know that e-commerce is not where the hustle resides. E-commerce is a little bit more serious than other things. Whether you're getting something free or you have to pay for some things. If you're using 10 solutions, you have to pay for 5. Then you need to calculate that break-even point and know how much products you need to sell on a monthly basis to structure your business as a business. Nobody's in business to just give away stuff. Right? People in business to make money. So do your research, do your due diligence, Look at content from people in the region who understand the landscape. Keron, Stephon, stay tuned to the correct channels so that you get the correct information. To just fall into say, hey, I want to set up PayPal. Because like Karen knew, like 2 weeks ago, we did something with Unit Trust and we broke down over 2 days. These are the platforms that you could use. Only to get a message and say, well, yeah, I listened to your session, but I just use Equid. I just use Equid. Why? Because I just felt to use Equid. And I'm like, but we take time to break down what you can and cannot use. And then you just go out there on your own and just use something, right?
And then can't get paid, and that's why you're reaching out.
And then come reaching out to extend the olive branch and be like, how do we get paid? And the truth is, we're doing this out of goodness of our heart, but we're doing this for free. And we can't save everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
So people, there has to be a part where people take ownership, people are responsible and accountable for what they do, but business is something serious. And because you're jumping in the big leagues, once you go digital, the same thing that you're selling, people could find somewhere else. So there has to be an element of seriousness in it. Right? So I just want people to take it serious, understand what is the steps to take to get your business online. Check in them, Keron. I started to get into the blog game, so I'm dropping a couple of things in blogs for how people can get online. Keron always has content. We just try to work with Stephon, so Stephon could put some videos and let people know the scenes. And hopefully between the three of us, like people could find something that could help them navigate or at least earn extra income to clear off a bill. Because right now, it's rough. It's an easy out there.
Yeah, correct.
It's an easy for a lot of people. And at the end of the day, I just want people to find an avenue to kind of sustain themselves.
Yeah.
And if that takes 10, 15, 20 minutes extra to make a decision, like the old people say, measure twice and cut once. Right? So do your homework twice before you really invest that money into a platform. That's probably what I have to say.
Perfect. Thank you. And again, both of you guys, thank you for taking the time to come on tonight's program. Tonight was a very insightful conversation. You guys, I want the audience.
Just to add one point.
Go ahead. And that one point, and he froze.
Question, Keron.
Oh Lord, and he froze with that. All right. Well, we'll close off with just us. So I want you guys to be able to stay tuned because we have a whole lot more content coming up. Next week, I have some really good interviews for you guys to really help up-level your online business. And then next week as well, we gotta set a date, but we're gonna have a conversation and bring back Ocey, and we're gonna be breaking down businesses. We're gonna pick a business. This is gonna be something we're gonna be doing on a regular basis. We're gonna pick a business and we're gonna look to see how we would do that business's e-commerce and marketing strategy. So the first business that we decided to do is we're gonna go take a look at courts, and we're gonna break down, what would Ocey do from an e-commerce perspective in order for systems and building that out. And I'm gonna look at the marketing side. What would I do from a marketing side to help push courts if courts was my business, all right? So stay tuned. That information will be launching next week. Folks, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please drop some fire. And as always, you guys can reach out to us if you guys are trying to figure out, if you were somebody that was affected and going to be affected by these upcoming shutdowns of these payment gateways and marketplaces, you guys can always reach out and ask questions to figure out, what's the next step, and we'll do our best to assist you, all right? So that's it from us tonight, folks. Have yourself a wonderful evening, all right? Ocey, next week. Take care, folks. Take care.